Dream Team, what's going on? Thanks for joining again. We're going to be taking a look at our library project in Go. So in our first video, I'll link the playlist. In our first video, we looked at how we can start capturing the books and the authors and storing that information. We just stored it in a map, so it was stored in memory. It wasn't persistent. Now we want to take that to the next level. So let's store it in the way that, we can turn it off, turn it back on again, and the data will still be there. So we're going to start implementing this through a database. I'm going to implement it through a Postgres database because I had a Docker compile file already written that was going to set that up for me. Made life nice and easy. You can do it however you want to do it. This is going to cover off using a Postgres database because that was what was there. Potentially a NoSQL database like a MongoDB may make more sense because we're sort of working in a key value pairs data structure. Certainly a relational database is fine, good even. So don't stress, use whatever database you want. This is specifically going to cover off how to do it in Postgres. So we'll start with the core structure of what we've done here. We might delete some chunks, add some chunks in. So all this stuff about making a map, probably not strictly speaking necessary. When we look at our book structure, we're going to need an ID in there now. It's going to be an integer. Our libraries, this is no longer going to cut it. So we've got our buffer IO. We're also going to need database, SQL now. We're going to need some logs, and we need to be handling some strings. I'm going to do github.com/lib/pq, and that's going to handle all of our Postgresiness. Now we've assigned this here with an underscore, so we're sort of saying to go, hey, import this, but we really more care about the side effects because it sort of links in with this database SQL. So we should execute it, which registers the driver, but we don't need to assign the variable. We don't need to assign that package to a variable or anything. We just need it to exist. In light of that, you're going to want to make sure that you run the command go get github.com/lib/pq, so that library is going to be there. So you're going to need to do your initialization init mod go. No, wrong way around. Go mod init, and then give it a name. I've just called mine library, so that you can start storing these. Now, what else are we going to need? We're going to need a way to store our database variables. So constant, and we're going to have the host, which in this case is just going to be localhost. Port, so Postgres' default port is 5432. Username for Postgres, the default is just Postgres. Yep. Password, big cybersecurity guy here. Password 1. Yep, nice and secure. Don't tell anyone. It's just between you and me, right? Our DB name is going to be book collection. I have set this up in the background, but you're going to notice like the IDs may not necessarily start from 1 because I've been playing with this. Because I like to pre-build these things just to make sure that they work as a concept, and then I go through and rebuild it with you guys. We're going to have our add book function, but we no longer need to be passing in collection. We might even call it create book now because we're not sort of adding it to the map, we're creating it within the database. We're going to need to send in some different things too, aren't we? So our function for create book will pass in the database SQL.db. reader, because we might start capturing our... I didn't really like capturing the variables in the menu. It seemed very awkward. So I might capture those within the functions. So buff.io reader. Alright. We will do our database connection in our main function so that we can pass that through. Alright, so what's... I think maybe we just get cracking on what create book looks like. So now that we're passing the reader in rather than doing it in the menu like we did or in the main function like we did in our first video. So fmt print, and we will say enter book title. So title underscore the underscore there, it's going to return potentially errors. We don't really care so much about that. Reader, read, string, with /n. There we go. And title equals strings dot trim space title. Don't know why I went straight to author there, but that said, now we're going to do the same thing for the author. So let's copy and paste that, make things a bit less painfully repetitive in the video. So author, wonderful. Alright, now we're going to need to ask for the author as well. fmt.print enter book author. Wonderful. Okay, cool. So once we've done that, we'll need to execute some SQL. So we'll ignore the SQL response coming back, but we will capture any errors. Say db execute, insert into books, books table, title and author, and we'll pass in values $1 and $2. Actually, they need to be in parentheses, and then what are $1 and $2? They are title and author. If we get an error, if error does not equal nil, we will print out our error. So log.print line error, and then return. Analyze fmt print line book created successfully. Yay! Huzzah! Why do we not like print line? Because I think I forgot it needs to be capital P. Print line. Why have we got log with squiggly lines? Because we forgot to include it. Log. Alright. Wonderful. Why do we... Yep. Yes. Okay, cool. Log is now happy. Alright. So, I'm sick of just rereading these. We're doing such heavy editing. Let's just delete our functions. Alright, so we've got create book. Next thing we'll do, we'll use our read all books function, read all books, so we'll pass in the database and point that at SQL DB. Perfect, okay. Now within that, we'll grab the rows and error when we do our query, so db.query, spell it right. I suppose technically that was spelled right, just poor capitalization, case sensitivity. Select star from books. Very intense SQL there, right? If error does not equal nil, log print line error. Return. Otherwise, defer rows.close. Close up that database connection. When we're done with it, say variable books, and it will be of type, well, it'll be a array of books, of the structure book, and we are going to do a for loop. So for rows.next the book grab the error from scanning it, if there is one, rows.scan, point it to the book.id, book.title, book.author. Excellent. Now, if error does not equal nil, then we want to print our error. So log print line error. Return. Otherwise, what do I do? I want to append it to our books list. So books equals append books book. Alright. Out of that loop, we want to print our books out. So fmt.print, printf, print line, books, creative titles, creative reading, for underscore book, range, books, loop through our books array, we'll print each book. So format printf, so I'm going to put in some variables. We're going to have a digit for our ID, take %s for a string for our title, and another %s string for our author. And we'll drop down the line so it looks pretty. We go book.id, book.title, book.author, author. Excellent. All right. I think that will make everything right with the world. No, because we want to capture these for, that's the wrong word, for that. Yes, excellent. Okay, that seems much better. So after we have captured, after we've retrieved all our books, let's grab a single book by an ID if we want to just see the book. So function read book by ID, passing our database again. Nothing too crazy going on there. Now let's take in the ID. So we'll go variable ID is an integer, and we'll say, hey, what's the ID? fmt.print enter book ID. Scan line. Worth noting, when you use scan line, it assumes you are doing essentially a one-word thing, which is why when we're taking in a book title, we are not using scan line, because it will just take the first bit of what you're including, and you end up with some pretty funky results. Don't ask me how I know. All right. So I've taken the ID. Now we're going to create a book. So var book, we're going to call it book because we're creative. Take an error while we try and run, well, error in case there's an error when we try and run our query. So db.query row. You can't make your mind up if you want to use the autocomplete or not. This one's going to be select star from books where ID equals $1. $1 is going to be the ID, and we will scan the results. So let's scan book.id, book.title. You'll never guess what, but the last one is book.author. Surprising, I know. We'll do our error checking. So if error is not equal nil, let's just copy and paste that from up here because it is the exact same thing. We're going to do it many times. And then if it's all good, fmt.printf, grab the book, we'll say we want the ID, so %d for digit, get the string for the name, by string for the author, drop down a line. What are we assigning those? We want to assign book.id, book.title, book.author. Alright. Now we can retrieve a book. Now, what if we want to update a book? So our function update book, we'll pass in our database, so db sql.db, and our reader, so we can take in those multi-word inputs, buff.io reader, and let's get into it. Variable ID is int, grab the book's ID that we wish to update. So please enter book ID, being capitalizing everything else, so I don't want to capitalize that, let's put a space there. Now we will take in our, actually when we're capturing an ID we can still just use the scan line, so fmt.scanline ID, perfect. Now we're probably going to want the more intense read, so format print, enter new title, and we'll say title, when we assign it using reader dot itchy wrist. Wouldn't you know it? Alright, so... Oh, here we go. This is even going to give us a scan line is similar to scan, but it stops scanning after a new line. And after a final item, there must be a new line or end of line. Okay, cool. So, why that's showing up for read string, who knows? But it's handy to know. Okay, cool. So, /n, that should be single, double. Okay, no, it's just going to show us this for everything apparently. I wonder why it's doing that. Okay, cool. So, now we are taking in the new title. We're also going to want to take in a new author. So let's... Actually, no, I haven't finished this. I'm not even done yet. What am I talking about? Alright, so take title and assign it to strings dot trim space take title. So we're just trimming off any just added little bits. This tooltip is driving me slightly insane. Now I'll take this. We want to capture the new author as well. So I'll do that. That. And type new author. Author. Alright. So now we're capturing both of those. We can go in and run our SQL query. So we don't care about what the output's going to be, but we do care if there's an error. db.execute update books. We'll set title equals $1, author equals $2, where ID equals $3. And the values we're using are title, author, and ID. In the event that there's an error, we're just going to copy it from up here because I'm sick of typing it. And if it worked, we'll say book updated successful. fmt dot print line book updated successfully. Yay! Alright, now we will look at deleting a book, I think. Is that our last one? I think that might be the last one that we need to tackle as well. That would be nice. Alright, so function delete book, pass in the database, .db. Alright, wonderful. Now we're once again going to do this by ID, so we want to capture the ID, so we're going to var ID and capture that. We'll ask for the ID, so form. Okay. What? Just not. There we go. Alright. And this damn tooltip. Which maybe is where I've got my mouse. Alright. So, lost my train of thought. It'll come back. Format, print, enter. No, that's going the right thing. Still there. Book ID. And then scan. It's actually relevant and it's hidden. Alright, scan line. Blah, 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 ampersand ID. Excellent. There we go. Now it actually makes sense. Alright, so we've got that. What do we need to do next? Database. Don't care what the SQL response is, but we do care if there's an error. db.execute delete from books where ID equals $1 and we send in the ID. If there's an error, blah blah blah. Let's just grab all this. There's an error doing that. Book yeah, we'll print the error, otherwise we'll say book deleted successfully. Is that all we needed to do there? I think that's all we needed to do there. Copying and pasting so much, probably going to come back and bite me in the butt at some point. Yep. Alright. So I think we're at this point where we can tackle this main. And I think our main is probably gonna need a bit of rework here. So ditch this. This loop. Maybe. Nah, let's just ditch it. I think we just ditch it. It's not going to take that long to rebuild it, and it's going to need so much rework. I think it's just going to mess with me every time I try and deal with it. I think it's just going to be, oh, you forgot to change this, you forgot to change this. This is still left in the old code. This doesn't make any sense anymore. And it's all going to be my own fault. So why don't I start from here? Because I know I will leave bits in there that shouldn't be in there. And say reader, buffer.io.new reader. So that's our reader that we're passing in to all them functions. So we've got that. Excellent. Now let's set up our database connection. This tooltip. What is with this tooltip? Can I? Yes, good. I don't know what I did, but I'm happy about it. Now we need to connect to our database. So PSQL info and format.sprintf. Say host equals percentage s, port equals percentage d, user equals percentage s, password equals percentage s, DB name is also percentage s, SSL mode if you're doing this like for something somewhere, not just on your own computer you'll want, but we don't, so disable. And for that we want to pass in host, port, user, password, DB name. So we've set those already up here with our constants that we specified. And alright, let's scroll back down. That's done. Now let's actually establish the connection. So we'll go database connection and or an error. We'll go SQL.open Postgres, and we'll use the PSQL info. And yeah, if there's an error, if error does not equal nil, we'll log fatal error. Otherwise, we'll defer our close till we're done. Defer close. We'll create the table if it doesn't exist. For me it does, because I've made it, but for you at home, the viewer at home, you won't have it yet, so we'll say db.execute. We'll say create table if not exists books. And for our schema, we'll have ID, which will be a serial, and our primary key. We will have title, which will be a bar chart, 255, so no long book titles, please. That'd be a pretty long book title. And it can't be null. And author's going to be the same, so author, varchar 255, not null. Alright, and yep. Semicolon for good measure. Back in the game. Alright, so if there's an error there. If error does not equal nil. It's not equal nil. Log the fatal error. And then we can enter our for loop. For playing golf. For alright, form that print line. We're gonna do it here. So copy book collection app. That's what we're headed for, so let's call it that. Now, one will make create book. 2 we will make read all books. 3 we'll make read book by ID. 4 we will make update book. 5 we will make delete book. 6 we'll make exit. And we'll take in our input. So bar, choice, int. And then we'll scan line for it. Scan line. Take in choice. Perfect. We're going to do it. We'll take switch statement for choice. Open that sucker up. Case 1. So we're taking it in as a integer this time, so we don't need to worry about the inverted commas, quotation marks, whatever we're going to call them. Call the create book function. We'll pass in DB and our reader. Case 2. We want to read all books. Is that what we called it? I feel like reading books, like it makes sense from the context of a database, reading it in, but like reading books also has other connotations. Alright, read books. All books we pass in the database for that one. Case 3. We want to, what was that, read book by ID, so we will read book by ID, we'll pass in the database. Now, we want to case, just had this like ominous feeling that I'd forgotten to click record, or I'd paused it halfway and forgotten to unpause it. It's gonna be so better. This is a longer video than I thought it was going to be. Case 4, update book. Update book. I was like, it's such, like, I'm just updating something that already exists. It'll be quick. It's not. Case 5 is delete book. So delete book db. And case 6 we'll do return, and then we'll have our default, which is going to say, hey, you didn't do good with the input. FMT print line. Let's be a bit more elegant in our language. Invalid choice. Please do try again, kind sir or madam. Totes elegant. Alright, save. You can see we've got like a little red bit showing up over here. But I don't know what it is. Oh, it's this. It's this. I think because I think that's meant to be an ampersand, not a. Yeah. What do we got? We got another one. I've done this exact same thing somewhere down here. Nope, we've just assigned things wrong. Perfect. All right. Oh yeah, no, it's not assigning. if not equals nil. Why do you not like defer close? What have I done to hurt you, Go? What have I done to hurt you? Alright, so this is our main. Yeah, because we're not defer dot close, we're deferring db dot close. So we want to close the database connection, not close the defer. Yeah, that makes way more sense. Alright. Save. Let's give this a run, shall we? Let's go crazy. Alright, crazy with errors. No required module provides. Oh, cool. Yeah, I need to go get github.com/lib.pq. Run. Hey, there we go. All right. So I suspect that there's actually a book in this database because I've had it running for a while. As I said, I did some test runs on this. So what do we got? Yep. We've got The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. Covey? I don't know. We've got the realization that when we're putting our outputs, we put a comma and not a dot. But if it works, I'm not going to go back and fix it. If we find errors, I'll probably go back and fix that, or I'll forget. Let's create a book. What's our book title? We want to, and we're not actually prompting people for an input on the menu. We've got a blank space. I might fix that too if we go back and fix it. Book title. We'll go with start with Y again. Start with Y. I'm just looking at the bookcase behind me. I need the capitalization. Simon Sinek, not Senek. Sinek. Book created successfully. Alright, read all books. They're both in there. Now, as I said, because I've been playing with this, like, it's gone in as number 4, not number 2, because I've, deleted things. Alright, let's update again. So, actually, let's read a book by ID so we can see our IDs there. Go read book by ID. We want ID number 4. And we can see that is book 4. Start with Y. By start with Y. Yeah, that's not. Okay, let's fix a couple of these things. It's gonna bug me. Alright. Firstly, when we're doing our menu, we need to ask people for a menu input. Format dot print please choose an option. Save. What were our other things? We're doing commas when we do our lists. So where is our read all books? Is that one of the first ones? Yes. And when we're printing that out, yep. Dot. Perfect. Alright. And we were doing book by book. What? Huh. That's interesting. Did we save it? Right. Let's start again, because like the other things were bugging me. Oh, thank goodness, I thought I was going to have made more errors. Read the books list. Yeah, we've saved it to start with Y by start with Y. So it was displaying it correctly. We're adding it wrong. Where is our create books? This is going to be a great way for us to... Yeah, author is unused. This is going to be a great one for us to work on our updates with. Alright, create book. The author value is never used. Insert into... But we are using it. We are using it. Title, author. Insert. Save. Oh, yeah. Cool. Good one, me. All those times I was like, copying and pasting is going to come back and bite me in the butt. It bit me in the butt. Alright. Exit. Start again. Alright, let's update the book. So, we want to update book 4. Book... Oh yeah, update and... Yeah, 4. Okay, cool. So start with Y. Let's change the name as well. Updated. And author, Simon Sinek. Updated. Let's do our list of books. Read all books. Hey, now it's right. All right, let's create another book and see if that works correctly. We are going to do the only other book I can see the spine of is Grokking Algorithms, and it is by Eric Schmidt. Done. All right, so read all books. And now it's saving properly. Winner! Alright, let's delete a book. 5 to delete a book, and let's delete book number 5. Can we find book number 5? I've gone into update mode. Let's just, yeah, cool. Now I think we're gonna have book 5. It's got nothing in there. Right, boom. Yep, okay. Yep, perfect. It is gone. Happy days. Okay, so I think we're going to leave it there. I think that's relatively well functioning. I think that we have successfully updated the UI to make it slightly less painful. And good news, we're getting rid of that in the next video, so it was time well spent. Because next video we're going to be tackling how to set this up so that all of those functions can be done via API call rather than via a CLI menu, which means that we're going to be able to build a front end in the following video. So that's a bit exciting. So if you found this helpful, click the like button. Feedback, comments, questions, whatever, drop it in the comments down below. If you want to follow along on this journey with us, subscribe, click the little bell icon. You'll get a notification when the new videos are coming out. And yeah, I mean, just thank you for coming on this journey with me. I'm new to YouTube, so clicking any buttons is a win at this point. I think even dislike probably helps out in some weird way. But just in case, if you think this sucks, leave it as a comment instead of a dislike. And yeah, I look forward to coming on this journey with you a little bit further still, hopefully. Until next time, have a good one.